I am wonderful, marvelous, magnificent, splendid, perfect, loved, loving, lovable, healthy, wealthy. I am a grand being. I am I. Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's get into it. I'm Kenyatta. This will be a reading from the Dust to Onyx Tarot deck. The title of this reading is, for now, is Lack of Self-Appreciation. Okay, basically, we're going to be reading about here what the lack of self-appreciation or knowledge of self, okay, what it will do to you, how it will destroy you, okay, how it will leave you completely open and vulnerable, okay, to all kinds of mess, lack of a better word. Okay. I mentioned in another reading, I was looking at a lecture, okay, on occult lectures by Brother Panic, and one thing that he said on there was, you know, to be a true occultist, you know, you have to deal with your childhood issues, okay, because we're talking about knowledge of self, okay, knowing who you are in and out, through and through, to be effective, okay, because really it boils down to self. You know, we are the all that is all. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, the micro to the macro. Okay, and what this will do to you. Okay, now sometimes, you know, we may have our own issues that cause this. Sometimes we may have had things done to us out of our control. You know, growing up with people doing their magic and whatnot on us and putting us in this state of mind. Okay. But obviously there is still a spark of, you know, truth there for you to be able to escape it and for you to be able to look at yourself in fullness, you know, like people say, doing your shadow work, all right, and to see, you know, what needs to be done to come into that state in place of full awareness of self, full knowledge of self, full appreciation of self, you know, in every way, shape, or form, from the physical here to the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. It's not an easy feat when you live in a world that is set up, okay, through its religion and all kind of philosophies and ideologies, basically telling you day in and day out that you ain't, you know, you ain't shit, in so many words, you know, and then they throw pictures in your face all day long, in and out, telling you this is the ideal of what a human being should look like, or what we call beauty, okay, and, you know, you've been seeing that all your life. You're programmed, okay, that is a program that is placed on you, or you've been, you know, we've all definitely been programmed to say, I'm not perfect, I'm not perfect, I'm not perfect. I already stated to you what I believe about that, okay? That is a relative, okay, based on cultural ideas and norms, okay? But if we are divine beings in our divinity, then absolutely right. You goddamn right, we are perfect. Okay, but we've been programmed to say, I'm not perfect, not, and what is perfection then? What is it? Describe it. Because reality is, no matter what you do, how you look, what space and place you get to, there is always going to be an eye or a listening ear that has an issue with it. But I understand. I don't have the necessary word for it. We are always, I can say this, in a place and space of growth and development and learning. But not that I'm not perfect shit, you know, and I'll probably say it. You know, I find myself saying it because, again, it is a program. I've been programmed to say it. Tell you what you're not. We are always talking about I am, the I am for positive affirmations, right? But we damn sure quick to say, I am not. I'm not. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. But at the same time saying, I am. Well, which is it? Because some of the things that we may be saying I am, we have not necessarily achieved that in the material aspect yet, but we are told and taught to say that, okay, fake it till you make it, basically, type energy, okay, to reprogram yourself, to bring that to you, to call that to you. But at the same time saying, I'm not perfect. I'm not. It's a program. Keep you stuck and bound. And from your true self, your divine being. We are divine beings. Infinite beings. Made in the image and likeness of the greater. Okay, some say God. Okay, in Taoism, the Tao, that is the power or the force from which all things come. All things come from that. Nature. Yet I'm not. It is still, I don't know, whatever. Divine beings. Infinite beings. I am happy, I am healthy, I am whole, I am this, I am that, and other. And 5 minutes later, I'm not perfect. I'm divine. I'm chosen. Etc., etc., etc. Again, we are always in a state of growth and development, learning, etc., etc. Okay, what does perfection look like? This is not about that necessarily, though, but we're going to get into this. Let's get into it. Here we have Wheel of Fortune in reverse. The Moon in reverse. 2 of Staffs upright. 3 of Staffs upright. 3 of Swords upright. Hope you can see a little bit of all the cards. For those who have trust issues, 3 of Swords, last card, upright. All right, here, I had to get a bite to eat real quick. This attitude, lack of self-worth, appreciation, knowledge of self, etc., it puts us in an unfortunate state. Okay. Not knowing who we are. Okay. An illusion, a state of illusion, I feel like, that we need to come out of. Hold on, please. Oh, with these cards, okay. I like to say awaken and dormant. Reverse is dormant, upright is awaken. I haven't used them in a while, I forgot, okay? But here, it brings us in a state of what? Misfortune and fear, confusion, turmoil, and deception. Okay? I feel like constantly in a space and place of trying to figure self out. Shit. Okay? Well, we got so much self-help this and self-help that and self-help, okay? Till it's just a business at this point. Okay? There needs to be the knowledge of self, the appreciation of oneself. It's a hard fucking battle to fight when you live in this type of realm where you're constantly told from conception on that you are not good enough. And usually most of the time it's based on how you look. You could not have a brain in your head, be empty as a box of rocks, but look beautiful. and maybe doted on, or simply doted on because your hair is a certain way, you have a particular skin color, okay, and that type of thing. Dying to get big fat asses, literally, whatever. Okay, if that's what you want, that's what you want. It's a reading. I'm making a point. Okay. Talking about the mindset of the culture here that we live in, and what this does to you, the lack of, so, and also, you know, but you could be, I don't know, maybe weigh 200 pounds or something, be on the heavier side, okay, skin is just too dark for some folk, okay, maybe hair's a little too tightly coiled, okay, and be a fucking genius, change the whole fucking paradigm of this realm that we live in, that will be benefit to you and to everyone else, okay? But that person may be treated as though they're worthless. Well, like I'm saying, it's usually based on how we fucking look. Turn a person down, you know, before they even fucking open their mouth. And I don't mean in a romantic relationship. I just mean, period, in just acceptance as a human being. This here, this knowledge of self here brings appreciation of self, all of that. Personal power, there needs to be a fresh outlook. And maybe an actual alliance needs to be formed, okay, in the fresh outlook. So that we can all have take our personal power back, okay, and not allow whoever these negative energies and forces are that are keeping us boxed up and tied down and locked up mentally and spiritually and emotionally, okay, so that, you know, we can all be stuck and come back to this motherfucker or whatever, or controlled, okay, or what, and just keep you just to be able to suck you fucking dry, okay, to be able to suck us dry. Or whatever their end goal is. Co-creating together, alliance. Okay, as we've been hearing it, build this new world, this new realm, this reality. Okay, it must begin with the self first. It has to begin with self, the building of the new, the building of anything, self. Before I feel like it can be penetrated. Here, once again, Three of Swords, alliance again, okay? Co-creating together a new mind. The emerging one, awakened. Ace of Blades, dormant. Judgment, dormant. The shaman, awaken. Okay. Starting with self from the beginning. Okay. Starting over again. Okay. New birth here. Let me see. The amethyst here on his head, his forehead, acts as a receiver of information from the spirit realm, other dimensions, and the energy fields that abound. Okay, those that are in that space and place to help with this, bring this new reality into being. Okay, so those that do we must be in a space and place, like he said, okay, of true appreciation of self, knowledge of self, dealing with all of our inner and outer, like you said, childhood issues, so on and so forth, in order to help this to, and working together, an alliance, co-creating togetherness, okay, in order to bring this new thought process, okay, into fruition, okay, for the world here, okay, the realms, the existences. All right. All right, let me see. Ace of Blades, here we have, what is this? Dormant. Force, confusion, cutting down, haste, threat, okay? It cannot be done that way, I would think, okay? But a place of the intellect, the mind here, all is mental, as we see in the Kabbalion, okay? Focus, definitely. That third eye, and the determination once again to form this alliance, co-creating together, okay, to help bring this into, again, fruition, to bring justice here and new insight into this world, okay, for the betterment of all. This is not where I thought this was going to go, but it's good. All right. It never really does. It very rarely goes in the direction I'm expecting it to go in. All right. Okay. Dormant here. Judgment. Okay. Unintuitive. Okay. We must utilize our intuition. Okay, what we really know, not what we know, not what these outside sources have constantly banged in our head over and over again that we keep absorbing, okay, even though our intuition is telling us something different. Cannot be hasty, empty, or stagnant. There must be movement here, okay? How? Within the self first, the constant working on the self, knowledge of self, bringing you to the appreciation of yourself, okay? Self-love, self-confidence in the who, the divine being that we are. All right? So it doesn't happen just out of the blue or just because I say A, B, C, and D. There must be movement, okay? Or you could look at that Bible verse, faith without works is dead. Faith is awesome. The evidence of things hoped for. What is it? Evidence of something but things not seen and hoped for, something like that, okay? But there must be, but it's dead without action, without movement. It is stagnant. It is empty. You're not acting on what you intuitively know. Within your divine self, allowing the outside forces and energies that told you wasn't shit because A, B, C, and D to take precedence. I am not constantly, though we say something else. Double-minded, okay? A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Here, the shaman, vision, mysticism, intuition, and wisdom, utilizing these things, okay? Once again, those who have been brought here to help assist with that, okay? Unified, alliance, co-creating together, co-creating with the greater, okay? To bring and create and build up, once again, this new paradigm, okay? Shift, okay? That I feel is going to take place whether we are ready for it or not, okay? Having a vision, okay? What are we co-creating? Where is this going? What are we doing? What are we building? Okay. What do we need? How do we know what we need? By understanding the self, placing ourselves into, I feel like, a lane of self-appreciation. Working on the self here to get to that place, that knowledge of self. Now I understand. Now I know who I am. Now I get it. Now I am confident. Now, I'm coming into that place, or I have knowledge of self, etc., etc. How can I be of assistance to others who are in that place and who need that? Okay. Vision, mysticism, intuition, once again, not in this place of being not unintuitive or not paying attention to our intuition, not allowing ourselves to flourish and like this butterfly here that we see. Self, therefore the world, the greater, okay, the world, okay. Wisdom, not the world's wisdom. Once again, who's told you what you ain't? Mama Coin, earring back. Awakened. Young staff. Awakened. Temptation. Awakened. Okay. Okay. All right. Affluence or affluent. Opulence, cultivation, generosity. Let me see. Here, in the Vade Mecum, okay, of course, that's what I'm taking time to look at here, under her painting. Okay, that's the painting, okay. It states, when I asked them who we were, they said, we are the land. We are the land. The self-appreciation. We are nature. Taoism. Our world is who we are. Those are the same stars, and that is the same moon that look down upon your brothers and sisters. Okay? Seeing others as ourselves, in which they see as they look up to them, though they are ever so far away from us and each other. Sojourner Truth. Quality is my principle, and qualified is my attitude. Here, what would seem like I'm talking about possibly affluence outside of the self. No, we are the affluent. The self-appreciation. I am wealth. I am prosperity. Not talking about paper money that's not even backed by any fucking thing. Not even backed by a fucking Flintstone. Nothing. Nothing. Where is the wealth? The opulence here. Self. The cultivation of oneself. Okay. Where you may hear people talk about people using a person as a resource, sucking them dry, okay, fucking around in their realms and in their chakras and all of that type of thing, because they're a fucking resource. They're a resource. We are the opulence. Self-appreciation. You are the wealth. It's not the thing that has been created here to keep us in a place and state of control. So that you cannot become, so therefore the greater cannot become. Except somebody's slave. Keeping you stuck and bound in a state of mental and spiritual torture. Day in, day out. Keeping you from your truth, what your divine self. Or what some may say, your God self. Warrior here. We must be warrior in the spirit and the mind here, okay? Adventurous, ambition, okay? Charisma, and competitive. But competitive with what? With one another? No. Competitive with this thing outside of us that wants to tell us you ain't shit. No, I am. No need to prove it to you. I will prove and show myself. I am above and beyond, okay, the bounds and the chains that you want to lock me down in. I am a divine being, my God self. Not simply because I say it. It is in the action. Faith without works is dead. Not being stagnant, there must be movement. How is that seen? Not by these outer things that people will compete with one another for. The wealth and the richness is the self that can be experienced within oneself. Which one is it? Is it Hinduism? I believe it talks about that. Okay, the experience. Or it might be Taoism. I'm not sure right now. I have to get my book. But the experience, it can be experienced, the divinity of self, the self-appreciation, knowledge of self. It can be an experience within, not because I can go put on, a designer's clothes who don't even give a damn if I exist or not. Who got some children across overseas sewing their stuff up for like a half of a penny an hour or something like that. Something crazy, if they pay them at all. I don't care. They're just another being as you. I'm not saying don't wear nice things, buy nice things. I'm saying that is not where the wealth lies. It lies within the self. That is not where the divinity is. The divinity is in self. In you. You. Not necessarily just in. It is you. Brahman. Atman, Brahman, the divine in all forms, infinite, not what some negative force says. This is the only thing that can qualify as beauty, so we worship it. No, infinite forms. But here we see temptation. Right. Here we see temptation. And I feel that without knowledge of self or lack of appreciation of self, okay, we are always susceptible to this. We may always be susceptible to it, okay? But it has a purpose. It has a purpose here. To awaken us to our divinity, that shadow work that we talk about, okay, going into the darkness to the true light, to get to the true light, understanding self, knowledge of self, self-appreciation, love of self, understanding self as divine beings. Four of Staffs, awakened. 10 of Boards, dormant. Papa Board, awakened. Celebration, hiatus, solid foundation, milestone, arrival. Here, the work will get us to this state and place, okay, of celebration, knowledge of self, the divine self. Therefore, knowledge of self, the divine self, appreciating that, knowing that, being able to celebrate that in and with others and seeing it in them because I see it in myself. And when I see you, I see myself. When I see you, I see the divine, all forms infinite. Building this, having been built on a solid foundation, here we have arrived, okay? This new state and place, this new realm, this new world, okay, that we are talking about. How can we go into it with the same state of mind? It will be the same. It will not be new. Okay. Disruption, stress, rebellion, loss, grief. Okay. Okay. So I feel like maybe that's just saying that we might have to be aware, okay, that there will be a constant battle as we move forward in this direction. I'm talking about singularly first. Okay, or just singularly as we do it collectively. There'll be a constant fight, a constant battle, constant distractions, disruption, okay, to get you off of that state of being, that state of mind, okay? Stress, things to stress you out, a job. I'm going to pay these bills, got to get the rent paid, car note due, children, a spouse, home, and just the stress of the constant false narratives that are thrown at us day in and day out of what you are not. And that's why you can't meet. Okay? You're not up to par. Causing stress, causing grief. I'm hearing in the hearts and mind, okay, of man and mankind, of course, women and men, okay? What does Papa Board want to say here? Wise counsel, healer, sophisticated, cultured, diplomatic. The voice that you hear is the alchemy of your mind, the intuition. Listen to it. Do not allow the forces outside of yourself, outside of your being, to tell you what you're not. Cultivate what you are. Your divine self, your God self. The voice that you hear is the alchemy of your mind. Here, Prince, magnificent, okay? Wait a minute. I'm just going to read this. How can anyone expect to be understood unless he presents his thoughts with complete honesty? The situation is unfair because it adds too much of the world, yet every time God's children have thrown away fear in the pursuit of honesty, trying to communicate themselves, understood or not, miracles have happened. Boom. Yet every time God's children, your divine self, your God self, have thrown away fear, a false narrative that is constantly being thrown at us day in and day out about what you ain't. And there is fear when you constantly have a feeling of what you're not. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this. But where did these ideas come from? False narratives that are being thrown at us day in and day out about what you're supposed to be, and you don't fit the bill. There's no security in that. There's fear in that. How I'm going to get there. Fear here. Have thrown away fear in pursuit of honesty, the truth of self, the divine self, your God self, okay? Knowledge of self, your being, doing all the shadow work that needs to be done, etc., etc. True acceptance of self, going into the dark to be the light being that you truly are, trying to communicate themselves, understood or not, what has happened, miracles have happened. That's by Duke Ellington. Lack of appreciation of self, okay? The destruction of self, okay? It will manifest, I'm hearing in the desires of your heart according to world systems that are not a part of you. Like what the man said, I think it was George Carlin or somebody like that, the comedian. You're not in that club. But yet the club is going to tell you who and what you are and who and what you are not. And how does it work? Because those that are not in the club accept it. We have to stop accepting the lies. When we have all these other things that may fall under the guise of religion or philosophies and whatnot, they have told us you are the divine being. You. And they're draining you by telling you these false narratives so you can be in a state and place of grief so that they can rise who and whatever they are. There must be a new, like realm or, paradigm of thinking about one's self, okay, in order for this new world and realm to exist. We make it up. We are what makes it what it is. It's not just an idea without any, adherence. Just saying it means nothing. We have to be it. And be in the knowledge of one's self, one's being. What is that? Your divine self, your God self. Okay? Self-appreciation, knowledge of self, the truth. And not being afraid of the shadow of ourselves to get to that truth, that light that we divine beings are.